Hello everyone, it's Tony from Laughing Griffin Crafting. This time I'm making dungeon stackers. This was originally seen by me from Jeremy from Black Magic Craft. You can check out his channel for how he made them. I'm not making them out of XPS foam. I'm instead making them out of this polyurethane foam, which is a packing foam. I was able to source these from a local packing company that on Craigslist was just giving away their scraps for free. So I have a couple bags of these and was able to use this for a lot of different crafts. Now, I did start with using the hot wire cutter for this, but I quickly realized that although you were making a very straight edge with it, that basically the utility knife did just as well to cut out these rectangles. So basically I'll be making rectangles that are 1 inch, which is the already cut out for me for the shape of the foam, by 2 inch, and also by 1 inch, and by 6 inch. So you can see how I have stacked them all together. Basically, this is a whole lot of cutting that happened, and here are the different dungeon stackers that I'll be making. The 2x1 with a 1x1, a 3x2, with a 2x1, and a 2x1 with a 1x1. I'm sorry, 3x1. Anyways, using the utility knife was what I used, not needed to use the hot wire foam cutter, just not needed. And a whole bunch of scraps back there, which I'll be using to make a bunch of doors in the next video, which will be posted hopefully pretty soon. So let's get them all assembled. So I'm going to be using PVA glue, Elmer's glue, this is the glue all, and some toothpicks, which are cut and then sharpened, and I use these to help hold everything in place, just gluing everything together. And some of the measurements required me to cut the toothpicks in half and then sharpen them up with the utility knife. Here you see that I'm going to be using some small weight plates to hold everything together. And these were just 2.5 or 3 pound weight plates that I have already out in my patio. And I went outside to now prime these. I had bought this type of primer, which is specifically for craft foam so that it doesn't melt. I don't think these would actually melt, but very light gray color. And as you can see up in the top, yes, there's miniatures that I'll be painting. And here I'm using a black wash. This is the only other real color that I use, and a black wash is just basically black acrylic paint that's mixed with water and 1 or 2 drops only of some dish detergent. And let's take a look in context for how these can be used for role-playing games. Basically, you're going to be using them for, first of all, here's the paint job, of course. From the lightest color to after the wash with this particular foam. So of course, using the wash brings out all those highlights versus the low levels. But you can basically be using these to make a bunch of walls. And here you see I'm going to be just taking them, stacking them upon each other, and making pillars or any other kind of tall structure. Make buildings essentially with them. And you don't necessarily have to even stack them necessarily on top of each other in a straight fashion. As you can see, I'm making some more interesting walls, making barricades and such, or even different types of buildings or temples by rearranging the different blocks. Basically, it's just like children's building blocks or Legos, and you can build some interesting things with them for your players to be able to negotiate, or just for background purposes, which is probably what I'm going to be using it for. And here I'm making like the inside of a temple really quickly here, like an altar. So, or a platform that you can make. So here we are, getting it all set up. And you can see it doesn't take a lot of time to change from one room to another pretty easily. And here I've put in my little coffin, some enemies and figurines, miniatures for context, for the size. So a lot that you can do with them in a short amount of time. So it doesn't take a lot to set these up. They're pretty lightweight, so they could travel fairly easy, because again, these are packing foam pieces. And here you're demonstrating here just multiple levels that you could have your players go up to. Like say you want to have a switch up at the top to activate something, they would have to climb up the switch to get there. You can make all sorts of different, another completely different temple. Interesting wall formation that I'm making here. Again, instead of just going at a 90-degree angle, putting it at an angle so the walls look differently. And certainly these are much better than those walls in the back because they actually can stand up better. So very nicely done there. And here you can see I've made a bridge or like an aqueduct. So there's all sorts of different architectural configurations that you can make. These walls I made in another video, you can go check those out. Speaking of which, come back to the channel, check out other videos that I have made. I'll be making a door video made out of the same material. That's what's coming up next. I have some miniatures that I'll be painting. So please come back, check out the channel. Support the channel by liking, doing comments, give me some feedback. Tips and tricks are always appreciated. See you next time. Bye-bye.